What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Miss Pyromaniac back again with another video. Last week I uploaded a video about how it was difficult for new players to start playing World of Warcraft, and I received a lot of criticism. A lot of people did not like what I had to say. There were a lot of people disagreeing in the comments, so I'm here to address all of that and share my thoughts. If you haven't watched the video, I'll leave a link to that in the description. But I basically said that World of Warcraft Classic was easier to get into as a new player rather than retail. I also said that the need to download add-ons acted as a barrier for entry for new players. It shouldn't be like that. Like, new players shouldn't go online and search what add-ons they need. They should just go into the game, and the most important add-ons should be implemented into that game. I used Questy as an example. And I also said that toxic players in the toxic community base was acting as like they were gatekeeping the game. And I shared some of my experiences with that. And the gatekeeping and toxic community thing, a lot of people agreed with that. So there seemed to be like, okay, yeah, people acknowledge that there is a toxic player base. So I'm not going to talk about that. So the first thing I want to start with is the add-ons. So from what I gather from the comments, a lot of people are holding on to this antiquated system and they refuse to change it because they want to relive the past for the 50th time, and maybe, just maybe, this time their hairline is going to grow back. Listen, I just used Questy as an example. There's a bunch of other add-ons that Blizzard could implement and make the quality of life better, alright? That's not... Like, it's not gonna change your experience, dude. Like, stop gatekeeping the game. Just little improvements for the game. I'm not asking Blizzard to turn the game upside down. I know that Classic is meant to be like some sort of nostalgia, right? But like, is it really that bad to implement quest markers and like a questy type system into the Classic? They did that for retail, right? Why can't they do that for Classic? If you want to read the quest, I understand that some people want to read the quest, okay? I don't want to read the quest. I just want to just tell me where to go and I'll go there. I don't really care if some fucking orc lost his shipment and I need to go all the way to fucking Burning Steps to recover it. I don't care, man. I really just tell me where to go. And also, if I get a quest in Stormwind and it tells me to go to Syrian Gorge, I don't know where Syrian Gorge is. I don't want to waste my time looking at the map for 10 minutes trying to find out where Syrian Gorge is and how the fuck do I get there, right? And listen, there's more than 1 million downloads for Questy. Okay, more than 1 million downloads. That's how many people needed Questy. So if you're telling me that they shouldn't implement that just so they could keep the game classic, right? You don't have to use it, right? They could implement it and you just could turn off that option and you can read your quest in peace. Not everyone has to play the game the way you want them to play it. Okay, so adding add-ons, implementing the add-ons into Classic would definitely help new players play the game. So we're done with that. Next up, I'm going to talk about which game is easier to get into, retail or Classic. I said Classic, people said retail. And the number one thing that I saw the most is that questing is guided in retail, mainly because you have quest markers. You have a questy type system, just like I said. So if they implement that into Classic, that would be no problem. But since they don't have it right now, I'll give you that. It's definitely easier. It's definitely more guided. You're definitely right, okay. But really, that's about it. Like, there's a dungeon finder in retail. It doesn't work well, and let me tell you why. So I'm playing Miss Pandaria Remix. I go into the dungeon finder, doing my daily dungeons, my heroic, my scenarios, all of that, and I get matched with level 70 players, and I'm level 20 or level 30. I don't really care. I think it's really good that new players get to play with experienced players. But the thing is, I can't really learn my abilities if I'm just following the level 70 player as he one-shots every single mob and every single boss. I'm literally doing nothing. I'm just running behind this level 70 god and just following in his footsteps, I can't even get an ability off. He's already killed the mob. So how am I supposed, as a new player, how am I supposed to learn my abilities if I'm just running? I'm just literally running in the dungeon. And really, Final Fantasy solved that by adding syncing, where everyone's item level is synced and everyone's doing like the same amount of damage, almost. In retail, you don't have that. And in Classic, you don't have a dungeon finder, so you don't really go through that. And mainly the people doing the dungeons, you're really, like a level 50 player is not going to do a level 20 dungeon, right? They don't really care about that. The only reason you're doing it in Dungeon Finder is because it's your daily. So you don't get to experience that in Classic. Also, leveling in retail is way faster, and I personally like faster leveling. I think that's better. But for new players, slower leveling would be best, because if you're spending more time with your character, you're spending more time learning your abilities, it's just a better experience overall. It's more coherent. You're learning every single thing about your character, instead of just going, I'm level 1 now. 1 hour later, you're level 10, you're level 20, and you're bombarded with all these abilities, and you can't keep track of your abilities. Meanwhile, in Classic, you just go in, I'm level 10 for I've been level 10 for 2 hours now. I've learned all the abilities I have up to now, right? And in Classic, you also don't have that many abilities. It's just 4 buttons, really. Let's be honest here. You don't really have to use all your abilities. There's already just 10 abilities, and you get to use 2 or 3 of them. That's it. You're not really doing that much. In retail, there's so much to keep track of, so many abilities, and just take a look at the talent tree. The talent tree for retail compared to Classic, it's huge. It's a big difference. There's so many options that you could choose and go through. Meanwhile, in Classic, it's just these few options. Very easy to understand what each talent does, and you could it's not that difficult to understand, right? That's my point. So in that regards, Classic would be a way better option for new players. Also, what is the end goal of an MMO? Mostly players play MMOs, reach max level, and get the best gear, right? In retail, you can't do that as a new player. It's so difficult because the best gear is locked behind Mythic, right? And Mythic raids are way more difficult than any kind of raid in Classic. You got Season of Discovery. They release 1 raid per phase. And don't get me wrong, they're not super easy, right? They're still a bit difficult, but they're no way near as difficult as retail. With retail, we really have to go in and study the fucking raid, and if one person messes up, then you're gonna wipe, and everything, you gotta do all that shit again, and you gotta go back and rebuff everyone, and oh my god, it's just too much for new players. It's too much, and there's key depletion too. You gotta take that into account. Now, there are normal raids that you could do, and the normal raids are easy, but you don't get the best gear. So, really, there's no sense of satisfaction. Meanwhile, in Classic, you could do the raid. You could probably pug the raids, like No More Gone. You could pug that. Sunken Temple now with Phase 4 released. You'll probably be able to pug it sooner or later. The newest raid, you probably would need a guild, but it's still not as difficult. Look. This is how I think Blizzard should approach World of Warcraft. They should get new players to play the game through Classic, and slowly, as those new players get to understand World of Warcraft and how the game works, they start funneling those players into the new retail expansions. Because as a new player, you have to, if you want to play the newest content in retail, you have to spend $40, $50 to buy the new expansion and then play it, right? With Classic, you really could just go in and you'd be playing the newest content with only a sub. So there's kind of a risk with retail. So I think in that sense too, it's easier for new players to get into Classic. But with all of that in mind, if any new player is watching this, I really, really recommend you play Classic. You start with Classic because you build the foundation for World of Warcraft there. Okay, that's where you build your foundation and you slowly build up to retail and into all that difficult mythic content. And Blizzard should not keep catering to the old player base. I understand that's the loyal player base, and I'm not saying you should just forget about them and stop listening to them completely. No, but you should start catering to those new players, because eventually, and it's soon, very soon, these old players are going to stop playing the game because now they have families to take care of. Maybe they're really old, like they're just going to quit gaming soon. So you got to capitalize on those new players that are going to be here for the next 10, 15 years, right? So overall, that's how I think Blizzard should approach World of Warcraft, and that's my response for all the criticism in my last video. And I'm sure people will still be angry after this because that's how the internet is. So I'll be excited to read all the comments and see how dumb people are. And yeah, that was all for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.